Let's get into it. That was a bad clap. That was bad. I messed up. All right, fine. Sue me. Listen, we got Joe Rogan, Tony Hinchcliffe. They're talking about a few things. Joe says some weird things about Obama, which we'll get into that. Always really likes Obama. I don't know why. Then they talk about Vivek and what Vivek recently did to a certain CNN anchor, kind of demolished him, which is wild. And then they touch on something that a lot of people don't think about. A lot of people don't want to see aid go to Ukraine, but even take it a step further, what could have been fixed in America with that money? And I got a couple of ideas of what that could have been. But let's get into the clip real quick. Joe Rogan, Tony Hinchcliffe. Don't forget about IamCoachColin.com. We got Sold Not For Sale shirts. We got the Great Resist shirts. And we have so many more. If you want to get anything, discount code is IamCoachColin. All capital letters, all one word. 1 L in the name Colin. Let's get into this clip.
In November. One thing, if there was no allegations of criminal activity from the current president, if the current president is someone like Barack Obama, who is a way better president by everyone's account, the way he holds, whether or not you believe his policies, whether or not you think that he did a good job with drone attacks and, whistleblowers, all the things he said he was going to do that he didn't do. Put that aside, just as a spokesperson, just as a representative of the country, a guy smarter than us, who's out there, speaks measured and calm, a real statesman. But you don't even have that. You got this guy who's
dead shell of a old seashell.
And on top of that, there's a bunch of shit that he's involved with that looks super sketchy. A bunch.
Oh, yeah.
A bunch of things.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many business dealings.
The money that we've given to Ukraine is just crazy. And we weren't really hearing of Ukraine until before he was president, his son's dealings with Ukraine. And then all this stuff with Ukraine starts happening. And they get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars.
I think it's over 100 billion. But here's a question, because they were just talking about this today. Are we really funding a portion of their government? Are we funding, as American taxpayers, I think what this person was saying was that we are funding a percentage of their schools, their elected officials. We're funding a certain percentage of that, too. We're keeping their government afloat.
Seems like it. I mean, who wouldn't move some money from that account into other accounts?
No, but I think that's part of the deal. That's above board. Forget about what's happening,
right,
where money's getting siphoned off.
So it's known that we're funding their government.
I think so. That's what this person was saying. I don't know if it's correct. That's why Jamie's got to get on it.
Damn.
But it's one of those things where it's wait a minute. When does this end? Is this another one of them 20-year deals? Is this another one of those Afghanistan deals? Have you ever seen the breakdown of the amount of money that we spent in Ukraine and what that could have done for America? Mm-hmm. It's insane. It could have given everyone in Maui, everyone who lost their homes, some insane amount of money, rebuilt Maui many times over. It could have fixed all of our infrastructure. It could have secured the wall. It could have, there's so much money that have gone into education, homelessness, all these different problems that we have in America that are key problems that keep coming up over and over and over again. It makes you wonder. It really does. Because if they really did spend $100 and whatever billion in Ukraine that they could have spent in America, what if someone did that? What if someone said, yeah, I know this is going to raise taxes. I know this is going to raise inflation. But if we spend this money in America and we fix all these problems, the next generation coming up, we've showed statistically we will be 20% better off. We'll have 20% less crime. We'll have 20% less incarcerations. If they could come up with some number that they could show you, everybody would be kind of yeah, taxes are more, but this is a real plan to actually rebuild America. And there's discussions of it on the news every day. There's people fuck rebuilding America. What we need to do is this and that and that and this and green energy and all this shit. If there was that, and this was our dispute, how much better would the world be?
Yeah. It would take a businessman who's anti-war and could bring peace to the Middle East and have all the other crazy world leaders in check.
Yeah. Did you see Vivek Ramaswamy? You know who that is?
Oh, yeah.
Van Jones listened to his speech, was saying that it's he's going to be around 50 years longer than Trump. And so he does a speech. He goes, Van Jones, shut the fuck up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. And when I saw that, I'm more of this, dude.
Trump opened up the door to that kind of shit. Yeah. He really did. When there was no politicians before Trump that you ever even heard swear.
Yeah.
When Trump was talking about China He goes, you can say, we want to negotiate, we want to do this, or you can say, listen, motherfucker. And people are like, yes, talk like a real person.
Yes.
Talk like a real person.
Yeah.
That's what the world is missing. People talking like real people.
Right. Obama was such a good politician, such a good people speaker that he kind of like beat the video game. Yeah. Now we need a new video game. You know what I mean? And Trump was that, a real human.
Have you seen where they face swapped that lady who's the White House press secretary with Obama?
No.
It's when she's talking about how there is no evidence at all that Obama is secretly running the government. It's simply not true. And it's her face swap with Obama. Let me see if I can find it. I'm pretty sure I saved it. I'm really good at saving all these stupid posts I find every day. This is why I can't be on this phone. This phone has...
I didn't even know you could do that. I go a long way because I'm like an old man on Instagram. So I mail them to myself.
Well, that works too.
Yeah.
But you can have little folders. Like I have little folders. I've had folders for conspiracies and...
Is that what that like bookmark looking thing is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you click that. Where is it? What do I have it under? I think I have it under government. I have too many categories. I have disasters. The disasters one is insane. There's so many disasters that you can find on the internet now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find this.
I like, I think it's thieves getting fucked or robbers getting fucked where people try to steal things and they run into like a cashier with a gun.
Oh, those are always fun.
Yeah.
I have an entire folder dedicated to Kamala Harris.
Oh, yeah.
All the most ridiculous shit she says.
Oh, everything. She can't do anything. Has she ever said anything not crazy? Oh, this is hysterical.
Yeah. There it is. Oh, you found it, Jamie. Thank you. So, please.
Obama be the hidden puppet master for this administration, but there's no evidence. There's no evidence. There's no evidence that Obama is Joe's puppet master. There's none. Absolutely none. None. And that is just a fact. You can't say that it looks like my hair is the dirty mop the janitor is looking for. You can't say that it looks like I lazily slapped on some of Big Mike's lipstick and horrific eye.
Lazily slapped on. Who's Big Mike? I don't know who Big Mike is. Do you know? I don't know. I don't know anything about that. Very interesting stuff. Here's the thing, though. We already found out that in order to rebuild Maui, it would be... Oh, and also, I have a clip. I'm going to show you what exactly Joe was talking about. You know what? Let's jump into that first. We got Vivek talking to Van Jones. Exactly what Rogan here was talking about. Let's get into that first. Let's do that right now.
We demand a government that tells us the truth again in this country. That's what we require. We can handle the truth. That's what it means to be a citizen of this country. So I say that on that last debate stage to a bunch of Republicans that are shaking in their boots. These are the things you're not supposed to say in the Republican Party even today. And then you get the mainstream media. You got this character Van Jones on CNN afterwards saying, this is the rise of an American demagogue who's going to live 50 years longer than Trump. This is dangerous. I am shaking. That's what he says. Just shut the fuck up. At a certain point, just shut the fuck up. Van Jones at CNN. We're done with it.
Man, let me tell you something. If this guy is a Trojan horse, like a lot of people think, then, job well done. Job well done. He's doing a great job if he is that. I'm going to play another clip from him because Joe talked about something near the end, talking about not knowing if certain things are real, not knowing if certain disasters, what we see is real. And I kind of had that realization as I was watching a clip of Vivek. We'll get into that in a second. But to rebuild Maui, $5 billion. $5 billion. To stop homelessness. Now, I was talking with Jimmy Dore, and I've heard in a couple of interviews where they talk about homelessness being able to be completely fixed throughout all of America for $20 billion. That's $25 billion we're at now. The wall, let's overestimate. Actually, let's way overestimate. Let's say another $25 billion for the wall. Right? What are we at now? Let's So where we go? 25, another 25, 5. Let's just say all of those things I just mentioned. Let's just say altogether it's 60 billion. We're still under. That neutralizes the border, homelessness. We throw in infrastructure, throw another 20 billion at infrastructure. We're not even halfway. A lot of people speculate. They say, "Oh, it's 60 billion that was sent over there." It's over 100 billion. We're at like 150 billion dollars. This is crazy. But here's the thing. Here's the thing when it comes to this stuff. They don't want less crime. They don't want no homelessness. No homelessness? They don't want no homelessness. Think about this for a second when it comes to no homelessness, all right? Think about this. In one state, there could be, let's just ballpark and say, 40 people who are in the business of homelessness, which means that they have these big cushy jobs where they're supposed to be the people who are helping the homelessness crisis and they're trying to fix it. And they're all getting paid, let's just say, $150,000, right? This is one state, and that's way under. I'm just throwing out numbers there. But think about how many people are getting paid for homeless people to exist because they're the ones that are supposed to fix the problem. That's a big reason why they don't want it fixed. Here's another reason why they don't want it fixed. And this is a great one. They want you on edge. I brought this up before. They want you on edge. They want you to see the worst case scenario. If you step too far out of the lines, if you say too many things and you get fired and you get in a position where you don't have a job because you said XYZ or you did XYZ or you stood with this political person or on this political side and you end up getting fired because you spoke out too much, they make sure that you could see the worst case scenario. You can see the tent city. You can see the person on the corner. You can see all the drug addicts. They make sure that you can see it so you understand where you will go. That's just me. That's just what I think. I think it's to keep you a little bit on edge and let you understand that, hey, listen, there's another, you may feel like you're all the way down here as a citizen, but there's further. You could go down further. It's right over there. That's just what I think. And then when it comes to the border, well, it would seal up the border. And do they want that? No, I think that's another reason that they want you on edge. Now, Tucker Carlson has talked about this so many times when he's talked about the population displacement, where if you just flood a country with people of another culture, you dilute the culture of that country. You know, let's say it's a Christian nation, you flood it with a bunch of Muslim people, you dilute the Christian values, right? For the most part. Now, and you can just do that with anything. It's a bunch of white people and you bring in Asian people, it changes. There's a bunch of black people and you bring in white people, it changes. If you just bring in too many people, you can just leave it at that. It doesn't have to be a religion or a stance or anything or color. You bring in too many people who haven't assimilated to a country, it dilutes what the country's about. And I've likened it to diluting the American spirit, because if a lot of people come over and they don't know what America's about, well, when they get over there and they haven't assimilated properly, if there's enough of them, they don't have to assimilate. They get to take over. That's just a thing. And I think that's another thing of keeping you on edge, right? Like all of a sudden there's all these other people here. They're willing to do the jobs. You want to unionize? You want to get paid more? Well, this guy doesn't. And that guy over there wants even less. And that guy over there wants even less. You know what? I'll go with those guys. You can keep your high and mighty, you want a livable wage. They're making it work somehow. And it's because they don't know any better. You know? So, I don't know. I think there's a lot to it. But these problems could easily be fixed with that money. And they just don't want to do that. And you know what else? Here's the thing. Gavin Newsom, I think I saw this on Jerry. Gavin Newsom reported California having a surplus of $40 billion. You know, we went over these numbers. People are speculating that it's $20 billion to fix homelessness nationwide. Well, what if Gavin Newsom, you know, decided to step out of his evil ways and he decided, you know what, I'm going to fix homelessness nationwide. We have a surplus. We can handle it. We can do it. Let's do it. Let's just fix homelessness. I think he would die, probably. I don't think they would let him live too long. I don't think they let anybody live too long who would do that. I mean, let's face it. Elon Musk could do it. Bill Gates can do it. Jeff Bezos could do it. There's probably a bunch of other billionaires who aren't as notable that could do it. None of them do it. None of them are like, hey, government, I'll pay half, you pay half. None of them are doing like, what are we talking about here? There's 10 billionaires. They could all be like, let's just divvy it up, guys. And government, you pay a bunch too, okay? Let's do it. Nobody's doing that. There's a reason for that. There's a reason that they don't want the borders closed. It's all to keep you on edge. It's all to, you know, I don't want to get into the worst of it, you know, because everybody knows. Well, here's the thing. You don't know who's coming over through the border. You have no idea who. Sometimes they catch people who are on the terrorist watch list. Sometimes I would imagine they don't catch whoever's, you know, has that type of intent. So you have no idea. So who knows why they're really doing this? You know, you can't really put a finger on it, because you would think any type of attack that happens wouldn't benefit the establishment. But I guess if you go to, like, you know, the art of war, in order to keep power, you would need a chaotic event to take place. I don't know. And then lastly, what Joe had to say about Obama. What's he talking about? Aside from the drone strikes and the not doing anything for the American people and, you know, millions of people dying around the world, aside from all that, he's smarter than us and he's a spokesman. That's a terrible spokesman. It's a terrible spokesman. And you know what I love? I didn't know this about Tony Hinchcliffe, but I can tell from this episode, because I've watched it a couple of times actually, he's a huge Trump fan. I didn't know that. Like, when he just brought up, he's like, oh, you need a businessman who is anti-war. He's talking about Trump. He's not just throwing out he's not just throwing out a random avatar. He's talking about Trump. He's really, really, really into Trump. He brings it up a few times throughout this episode that he's just like, he's really gung-ho about Trump. But, you know, Rogan doesn't want to exactly be seen endorsing Trump. I mean, I find the clips. Because, you know, it would make, like, why not put those clips onto the YouTube channel that they have? They never put the clips of him talking about Trump. It's always like, you know, they kind of, I don't want to say put it under the rug, but they kind of push it aside. So I guess he doesn't want to be seen supporting anybody, you know, I guess. I don't know. You want to support America. I go right back to what Patrick Bet-David said when he was on the podcast. He's like, if you don't help Trump, if you don't interview Trump, you're inadvertently helping Joe Biden. And you know, I think of that all the time. I'm like, yeah, that is kind of what you're doing. If you don't allow America to see Trump, all of America to see Trump in a very human light, you are helping whoever else. You're helping Nikki Haley, you're helping Chris Christie, you're helping Joe Biden, you're helping everybody else. I don't know why you do that. And when it comes to Vivek, I will play this clip. I just want to play it quickly. I'm not even going to play all of it. I'm just going to play a little bit of it. But it did make me think of something.
Do you condemn white supremacy and white nationalism?
I mean, who are you with? It's Washington Post. All right, so potato, okay. Of course, I condemn any form of vicious racial discrimination in this country. But I think that the presumption of your question is fundamentally based on a falsehood that really is the main form of racial discrimination we see in this country today. Institutionalized racism is institutionalized racial discrimination that we see that doesn't come from somehow discriminating against people on the basis of some tenet of white supremacy. It's based on affirmative action. It's based on actually discriminating against people on the color of their skin in a way that's actually institutionalized today. Was there a point in our history, at points in our prior national history, where there have been vicious forms of anti-black or anti-brown discrimination throughout this country after the Civil War and otherwise? Yes. But you're looking in the rearview mirror and using that to pose a question today that is so far removed from what the reality is in America today. This myth of white supremacy, the closest you can find is Jussie Smollett, where you all were actually, speaking of trust in the media, jumping up and down over some false narrative. The best way you're able to find your best instance of white supremacy was a guy who was actually paying his other fellow people to be actually staging something that didn't happen. And so stop picking on this farce of some figment that exists at some infinitesimally small fringe of the American public today to open our eyes to the actual real threats that we face. And I think that it's frankly questions and framings like that you're black or white or brown or anything in between. That's how we're going to unite. That's what's dividing this country to a breaking point, build trust in this country. And until then, I don't have a lot of patience to play the games.
What do you expect from
See, stuff like that. Now, what he said is completely true. Completely true. And I hate that type of questioning that the Washington Post apparently is doing. But when you talk about not knowing if things are real or fake via AI, CGI, every technology that we have to date, I'm not saying that was CGI or AI or anything like that. Obviously not. It was a person. He was there. But it makes you wonder, like, what can you believe that you see? Because there's all this speculation about Vivek, all this speculation that he is this Trojan horse and he's too good to be true. And I'm on board with that a little bit because every time you hear him speak, you're like, the guy nailed it. Like, there's never been a time where he hasn't nailed it. Just never. But at the same time, he's a businessman. He came out of nowhere. That's what Trump was. So it's like, why wouldn't he end up being like Trump? Why wouldn't he have really good intentions? I don't know. But here's the thing I think of when I see a thing like that. Was that a real reporter? Was she really with the New York Post? Or sorry, not New York Post, the Washington Post. Was she really with the Washington Post? She just kind of rolled up, asked that question. He ripped her apart, got applause. And then he puts it directly, because that was directly off of Vivek's social media. Why wouldn't a politician, any politician, why wouldn't they have something like that staged so they could put it on their social media, get the engagement from that, and show people their stance on certain things? Wouldn't that be a smart way to show your stance on things? I think it would be. I think it'd be a very smart way to do it. I'm a brown guy trying to appeal to a white base because I'm a Republican. Well, I already did the barbershop show for the black people, because he was on some show. He was in a barbershop and blah, blah, blah. I already did that. So how did I get the white people? It's like, why don't I have someone who's woke? Because we all know the Washington Post to be woke. Why don't I have some woke outlet ask me a question? I'll eviscerate this person, and then they'll see that I'm on their side. I don't know. I just think of that. I don't think he did that, but why wouldn't every politician do that? The same way when you see a politician and there's like, oh, this is Casey and she's 9 years old and she has a question for you. It's like Casey didn't care to ask any question. She doesn't care, and she didn't come up with the question herself, obviously. It's completely planned, and it's planned, and it's a kid and it's cute, so you accept it. But why wouldn't they do that with fake reporters, fake people in the crowd? Why wouldn't they do that? I don't know. I think they would do anything. 2024. It's making me ask all sorts of questions. And this is not to shit on Vivek. I think he's great. But I also think, why wouldn't you do that? I don't know. But he told Van Jones to shut the F up. And I love that. That needed to happen. Someone needs to tell Van Jones to shut the F up. J6 happened. He's crying. He's in tears. Every time something happens, he's always the first guy to try and bring up these fake tears. It's ridiculous. I'm not even going to bring up any clips of him. It's very frustrating. Anyways, guys, like the episode, subscribe, all that good stuff, and let me know what you think. I know a lot of people are on board with Vivek, and I know there's a lot of people who think he's too good to be true. I don't know, I'm in the middle, I still think he'd be a great VP for Trump, but Trump has been burned by people before in his administration where he thought he could trust people that he couldn't. So if he took on Vivek and Vivek actually was this Trojan horse, then that would be terrible, because then your vice president would be against you. It's just, man, when did politics become like the mafia? It's like Sopranos. You don't know who's who, double agents, all this stuff. It's wild. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about everything you saw in the episode in the comment section. Like, subscribe, share, and I'm out.